Hi everyone, Paul Akers. So I just wanted to do a year-end greeting and give you my thoughts about everything I've learned in 2014 about Lean, because man, did I learn a lot. And this is really the idea of Lori, our producer of the American Innovator Show. She said, Paul, you really should do something about everything you've learned about Lean, because man, I think you probably learned a lot. Indeed, I have. So I really wanted to distill it down to just two concepts, very simply. And the first one is really the most important one, and it's the one I want to focus on the very most. So if I was to tell you everything I've learned about Lean, the most important thing that's mattered about Lean for FastCap, my company, it's this: get on the shop floor. So let me explain. I now spend at least about an hour a day on the shop floor in a production cell doing work. It's kind of staggering to think about. Here I am, the president of a pretty large company. I'm traveling all over the world, doing speaking gigs, doing all the things I do. But I actually think the most important place for me is on the shop floor doing the work with my people, shoulder to shoulder. And so I haven't always done that, but I've been doing that more and more this year in 2014. And the more I do it, the better my company gets. The more I do it, I find out all the stupid work that I'm making my people do. I'm seeing all the things that my people are struggling with that I have the power to change. But because I don't know about it, I can't change it. I mean, this is big time stuff. You know, I've said about the building industry, I used to be a general contractor, built a lot of homes, did a lot of cool work, that if you want to solve 90%, maybe 95% of all the problems in the construction industry, just one fell swoop, one thing over with, just do one thing. You ready? Make every architect that designs every building spend one day a month with the tool belt on, doing the work, driving the screws in, cutting the boards, dealing with the steel studs, running the electrical. You solve all the problems. Because when the architects actually have to feel the pain that they're putting people through and the stupidity that basically is involved in 90% of construction, I just know because I just built a building, everything would change. But unless you're on the shop floor and you feel the stupidity that you're putting your people through, frankly, you have no clue, as I had no clue. So the more time I spend on the shop floor, the better things get. The more I find out that my people really appreciate it when I'm coming there to help them, to learn, to empathize, and to improve processes shoulder to shoulder. What just happened last week was really staggering. I went into a production cell where we were packaging a little tiny Euro doorstop. I had to put 10 of them in a little bag, right? And I had one gal doing it, Heather, she was doing it, and then I had another one, Annie, that was doing it, and I had to come in there, we had to make 400 of them. Well, what's a CEO and president of a company packaging 400 Euro stops in a 10-pack of bags? Well, the reason I was doing it is because it meant a lot. You'll see why. So I began to do it, and I watched them do it, and it was really clumsy and cumbersome, and it was a pain in the butt. And I had to make 400 of these. I go, I'm going to be here for 4 hours. This is crazy. So I immediately went into my problem-solving mode and began to fix and solve the problems. And, you know, we came up with a couple different special scoopers. I got the engineering department. We did a little drawing of a special customized scooper with a really cool funnel designed onto it. We printed it out immediately with a stereolithography machine. That's how rapidly we can do things here. And in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, we were actually working with a prototype product and trying it, and it worked a little bit better, but it didn't really solve all the problems. And so I began to do the next thing you know, I had 4 engineers around me, and we were all looking at it, trying to analyze it and figure out how to make it better. And you know what happened? Between Heather and Annie and Skylar, a 19-year-old kid, they came up with better ideas and more thoughtful solutions than myself, the Lean expert, and 4 of my engineers. Imagine that. Wow, so what did I learn from all that? Number 1, my people are struggling. Number 2, I had a great opportunity to teach them about how to think about process improvement. And number 3, and the most important, is they're smarter than I am. And the problem is, when we get to the top levels of leadership like myself, we start to think we're the smartest people in the group, and we're not. The people you're working with are so brilliant, it's unbelievable. But we're too stupid as leaders to find out, because we don't spend any time in their world. And the more time you spend in their world, the greater things you're going to get, the better things you're going to get, because you're going to find out just how smart your people are. Like I found out how smart my people are. And then I had the opportunity to teach them a little bit more about Lean. And yes, they taught me about Lean, because they're pretty doggone good at it. So at the end of the day, you want to take your company to a whole nother level? get on the shop floor. Deliberately. No differently than we 3S every day. We sweep, sort, and standardize. We have a meeting for a half hour to 45 minutes to teach and train our people for 8 years that we never missed. Deliberately, in the same fashion, get onto the shop floor on a regular basis and find out what's really happening. And I'm not talking about with your clipboard, with your iPad, and your phone and taking notes. I'm talking about doing the work. Doing the work you're requiring your people to do. You want to take your company to the next level? That's it. That is the most important thing I learned this year. Hopefully that helps. I'm not even going to tell you what the second one is. I'll save it for another time. Because if you just get that one right, you're going to go to the moon. Thanks a lot. Have a great new year in 2015. Talk to you later.